Brittany and Parker here from Ride or Dine.
Hello.
And Peanut.
And Peanut.
And we're here with our top 5 video of 2023. We're going to count down our favorite moments, foods, rides, and of course, coasters from last year. So we're going to kick it off with our top 5 favorite moments of the year.
Yeah. And number 5 is something we do every single year. It's Brittany's reactions to different rides. So here's a montage.
Oh my gosh, there's goats!
There
At one point it just kept going. No, it was loop, 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 loop. Once we hit the EAC.
Chaos. Not for Brittany.
No!
No?
I don't like that.
It's so funny because she loves rides, but she hates rides. So, number 5.
And number 4 actually is kind of your reaction a little bit because you had some big moments this year. Parker rode his 500th roller coaster, so it was a milestone for him.
Yeah, halfway to a lifelong dream. So that's great.
And then also Parker got to recreate a really special moment with his dad at Hershey Park. He got to ride Wildcat's Revenge, the newly redone Wildcat, and recreate this awesome photo.
Number 3 is something that is just something that's erupted in the industry. It's drone shows. So seeing it for the first time at Fiesta Texas and then seeing it in France at Disneyland, those shows were just incredible.
So cool. Number 2, I think probably impacted me a little bit more than you, although you still loved it. That is walking into Nintendo Land for the first time.
Yeah.
So immersive. It was truly like stepping into like a childhood dream. It was so nostalgic, just mind-blowingly cool.
It really showed what Universal could do with money that they made from Harry Potter. It was their first big venture out there. And man, I'm excited for the future for Universal. And number 1 is actually this parade, kind of, at Disneyland Paris, where they would bring out different floats. And what was it called?
Dream and Shine Brighter.
Yeah, I mean, it was so amazing. All these different characters. People were dancing. Knew the choreography.
It was insane. It was the fandom I didn't know existed. It was so cool to see. One, the show was amazing.
Yes.
I'm a fan for life.
Yeah, the mashup of music was perfect.
For real. But then also just to see the people, it got me even more hyped, and we loved it. It was such an unexpected,
it was
cool
a core
thing.
Memory, and that's why it's number 1.
For sure. All right, so we'll jump into the second category. That's going to be our top 5 favorite foods of the year.
Yeah, Ride or Dine, so we got to talk about food.
But just like last year, we have to be fair here. This has to be non-Disney foods because Disney is in a league of their own, and we also visited a lot of Disney parks this year.
Yeah, we did.
So number 5, we're actually split on this one, but it does come from the same park.
Yeah.
That's Parc Asterix in France.
And that was an incredible park. Totally took me by surprise. Didn't know the characters, anything like that, but the food was very good and kind of cheesy, but I enjoyed eating French fries in France. So French fries.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
That was my number 5.
Covered in a cheese sauce and onions.
Yeah, that was good.
They were really good. But for me at Parc Asterix, there was this out-of-the-park dessert. So good. A raspberry tart in Festival de Toutatis.
And it had the little logo on top of it too, which was really cute.
Good. I mean, French desserts, it's just like another ball game, but chef's kiss.
Number 4 is actually here in our hometown, San Antonio. So 7 Seas, beer cheese spatzel with braised beef.
So good.
So good. Your dad even liked it. And we talked about it, how every one of us ate it. And he was like, no, you're overselling
You're overhyping it. And then he was like, no, it's good.
It's good.
Number 3 comes from Del Grosso's park, which, I mean, they make sauce. How can you have a park with Italian people who make sauce? Obviously, something Italian is coming from that park and getting down this list.
We ate a lot that day.
We did. The meatball sub, though, was superior. The bread was good. The sauce, the meatballs, all of it was perfect.
Oh, it was. Number 2 is from actually Nintendo Land. And it was a drink. This is the only drink on our list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually the Superstar Lemon Squash.
Yes, it was like a honey lemon soda, I guess, with these little mango stars and bobas. It was so good.
It was really delicious. I think it probably was the best thing that we had, and we ate there too, except for one thing.
Number 1 on our list, yes. That has to be the Chef Toad's short rib. It was just amazing. It was perfectly soft. It had a goat cheese polenta,
Oh, that was
braised beef.
That was what sold it.
A red wine reduction. Like, these are things you're not typically thinking you're going to get a quick service at a theme park.
Right.
But you know what? This is the point of Ride or Dine.
On to the next category, and next is top 5 new rides. Again, new rides to us.
Right. Not new rides to the industry, but these are things we did for the first time in 2023.
Right. So before we start the next category, we were going to honorable mention the Turtle at Kennywood.
Yeah. I mean, this is an old ride. I'm sure it's got a lot of like nostalgic fans. I had never done it, and I gotta say, it just took me out of a really dark place at Kennywood because I was not having a good time.
Yeah, Exterminator. That's what happened.
Yeah. But it's so cute and fun, and I even bought a t-shirt.
And number 5, we actually have Split as well. But again, both at the same park. This was Wallaby, Belgium.
Yes. Such a great park. My number 5 from that park is going to be, I'm going to butcher this, I'm so sorry. The Challenge of Tutankhamun? Maybe?
Sounds good.
It's a dark shooting ride themed to like an Egyptian curse with a mummy. There were just like so many animatronics, so much going on, so interactive. So fun. Peanut wanted to come back.
Okay. And my number 5 is Flashback, and that is actually a log flume. It has a part where it actually goes backwards, a few tunnels with different lights. It was really cool.
It was a really, really good ride.
Number 4 is actually also at the same park.
Wallaby, Belgium.
Yeah, this is Popcorn's Revenge.
This was an incredibly cool ride.
Yeah.
It was also a shooting ride, but more on the side of like a Toy Story Mania as opposed to like a Buzz Lightyear.
Yes, I think it might have been one of the first trackless rides.
Number 3 is actually coming from Disneyland Paris. Well, actually, Walt Disney Studios Park.
Right.
Which is in Paris, France. And that is going to be their version of Tower of Terror.
Very cool.
So cool.
Yeah, it has a different storyline. And I think that's what sets it apart from the other ones to me. I think if it would move forward like the one does in Orlando, it'd probably be the best tower.
Agreed. Number 2, I'm so sorry, we're still in Paris. But this is from Disneyland Paris, and that's going to be Phantom Manor, which is their haunted mansion.
I didn't really know anything about it going into it. I knew it was like a little different, but it was much more different than I thought it was going to be. But it still has that same feel as well.
For sure. You still go through pretty similar-ish scenes. You see there Madame Leota. You know, you get those kind of vibes, but a totally different story, totally different characters. I loved it. We actually did it twice.
We did, and we rarely ride things twice.
If it's a new park and we're short on time, it's rare, but we had to do it twice.
We did. And number 1 is actually Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, and that is just a revolutionary ride.
Seriously.
Still mind blown about it, and I can't wait to ride it again.
I know. Nintendo Land, like we just mentioned before, just all around such a great land, but they also have an all-star attraction in it.
They do. And right back to food. I feel like every time we say food, Peanut.
Food.
We're sorry. But we're on Disney food now, so the main event for food.
So we'll start with number 5, and in true Ride or Dine fashion, I guess, we're split again.
Oh, yeah.
But from the same park. Did we plan this?
We did not plan this. It just happened to happen.
So our number 5 comes from Disney's California Adventure, their Food and Wine Festival.
Which we had never done before.
This was the first year, and it was incredible, by the way. All of the food was good.
Yep.
But my number 5 is going to be the poutine. It came with tater tots, a like braised short rib, pot roast type of meat, cheese curds, gravy.
Yeah.
Really good.
And my number 5 was this grilled cheese. And it almost wasn't part of it, but it was part of the event because it was off on its own booth that's always there.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it was a grilled cheese, and then it came with the cheese dipping sauce.
Yes. A sun-dried tomato cheese dipping sauce, which screams Parker.
Number 4 actually came from Disneyland, and it was during the Disney 100 celebration, and that was the cream cheese pretzel. And she had never had a cream cheese pretzel before.
I had not, but this one was extra special because it had icing on top and a lavender vanilla icing, which, I mean, I would just imagine is much better than the normal cream cheese pretzel. But again, can't compare it.
Delicious.
Number 3, we're hopping right back to the California Adventure
Back
Food
and forth.
Fest. And that's going to be this Mickey Snickers macaroon. Typically, we're not big macaroon fans, I gotta say. But this one was so good.
It was big, and it was the right amount of chewy, and I feel like that's my problem with macaroons. And maybe that's because that's just the way macaroons are.
It is.
If they aren't the correct level of chewiness.
Yeah, the right consistency.
The consistency.
Yes.
Yeah. But this one was. This one was perfect.
It was really good.
Number 2, we're going back to France. And that was at Walt Disney Studio Park. It was actually at the restaurant for Ratatouille.
Yes, Chef Remy's.
Chef Remy, yep.
I mean, how could it not make the list? It's Chef Remy's. And we planned a whole short around this restaurant too, which if you haven't seen it, I'll put the link in the description.
Definitely watch that short.
It was really good. I got the steak with béarnaise sauce and side of ratatouille, of course, and that had to make the list. It was so good.
It was. And then number 1, we're going right back to California.
Yeah, California Adventures Food and Wine Fest. I'm saying, like, everything was so good there. I mean, I love Epcot's Food and Wine Fest, but the California one, it killed it on food.
It's funny because our last video, California had a lot of food on it.
Yeah.
And it kind of happened this year too.
Yeah.
But number 1.
There was a chimichurri sirloin with garlic mashed potatoes, and truly, this could be like my favorite dish at a restaurant all the time year round. Like, it was so good. I can't even believe that this is a food fest item.
Yeah, it should have been a plate.
100%.
Or it can be a plate at least.
I would pay $40 for that plate.
$40? Yeah, we would pay $40.
Yeah, we would.
She's right.
We would. All right, and then the big list, of course, is the top 5 coasters of the year.
Yes.
I'll go first. Obviously,
Ladies first.
Obviously, our lists are going to be very different.
Yeah.
Parker and I don't like the same type of coaster. He is the true enthusiast, and I'm more of like the theme park enthusiast.
Yeah.
So my number 5 comes from Wallaby, Belgium. That's going to be the Calamity Mine coaster.
That was really fun.
It's kind of their version of Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah.
But you go up a lift hill twice.
Yep, 2 lift hills.
It was really, really
It
great.
interacted with the water at one point. There was like a waterfall you went underneath. That had one really good pop of airtime. That was a solid ride.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
Yeah.
Number 4 is also at Wallaby, Belgium. And that is Pulsar. It is kind of like, it's Aquaman at Six Flags Over Texas, if you've been there and done that one. So it's that water coaster that has the spike and you come back.
Yeah. It was the first of its kind.
It was. And it was really great. And I will say, I do think it's better than the one over Texas. We also did Aquaman for the first time this year.
Yeah.
But the theming and how they get you hyped and pumped, the heartbeat sound that they play.
Oh, that was so cool.
It was incredible.
And the splash section was a lot better too. I feel like it over Texas it's a little blocked off. And this one was wide open, and it was honestly a little cold that day.
It was.
And we were like, where should we sit to try to avoid getting
too wet?
Drenched? Didn't work.
Didn't matter. Number 3 is from Kennywood in Pennsylvania. So I went to Kennywood for the first time this year. Parker's obviously been there many times. He's from there. But I rode Jackrabbit for the first time, and I loved it.
It's adorable.
It's just this little wooden coaster. And typically wooden coasters are not my thing. But it was fun. It had a double down on a wooden coaster. I mean, really cool.
It may be small, but honestly, I think it's perfect. I think it's the perfect layout.
Number 2 for me is Big Thunder Mountain in Disneyland Paris. Big Thunder is a great roller coaster at all the Disney parks.
Everywhere.
Everyone loves Big Thunder Mountain, even if you're not a coaster fan.
Yeah.
But Disneyland Paris was so cool. It was different. It's across the lake. You go under the water. Yeah. I mean, like, it's so neat.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you think of the one in Orlando, it has like this splash effect almost. And this one actually has a splash effect because it's in the middle of the lake. It makes sense.
Yeah. And then my number 1 is, again, Wallaby, Belgium.
I guess I really like this park.
Was that my favorite park? I think that's my favorite park. That is going to be Conda. And that was actually Parker's 500th roller coaster. I got to be there with him, which is really great. And I'm so glad I rode it with you, because that's the coaster that I could sometimes see myself being like, I don't want to, I'm scared, you go do it. But I loved it so much that it was my favorite coaster of the year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of roller coasters where I'm like, oh, I'm glad she didn't do this. Or like Exterminator, I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have had her do this. But Conda is for everybody. And that's the reason why it's so beloved by many people.
Okay, Parker, your
Okay.
top 5 coasters. This
Here we
will be a
go.
good list.
Listen, I'm a little quirky when it comes to roller coasters, so, I know there'll be some judgments here. Maybe, maybe not. I feel like this is
a good, solid list.
I think this might be the general view of things. Okay, so number 5, I have Osiris, and that was at Park Asterix. And to me, while not as good as Montu, and maybe it is, controversial take there. I just immediately flipped the script on my whole thing about not being controversial. So maybe not quite as good as Montu, but man, it's right there. And it has that Egyptian theming, and it has a few different kinds of inversions. I love the pacing of the ride. There's one point where it does a 0G roll, and it looks like it's going to hit the building, goes into a tunnel, just like kind of Montu does as well. It really is a great roller coaster. Next would be Wildcat's Revenge, and of course that was the one that I rode with my dad, and it actually, is a great roller coaster. And we rode it a couple different times, and the whole family was there. People were going crazy about that one. Yeah.
Very scary.
Number 3, I was super nervous about because this roller coaster is always closed. This is the Northern Lightning Rod. It is steel curtain. Yeah. Finally got on it. It's been years, and it closed actually before we got there. Opened when we were there, and then closed again a week later.
We got so lucky that Steel Curtain was open at Kennywood.
Yeah.
And I will say this is a roller coaster that was not for Brittany. It has 9 inversions, and that just sounds like it sounds awful.
It's a little much?
It's a little too much for me.
It wasn't too bad, though. Maybe I'll make you ride that one day. So now number 2 is Toutatis, and that is at Park Asterix, and it's brand new this year. It was a fantastic ride, has a switch track, launches you forward, launches you back, launches you forward again, goes through a few different inversions. It was just a fantastic ride. The theming was really great. There was the station was inside of a little tiny hill. That was really neat.
Like a cave with lights and cave dwellings. I don't even know what you would call it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the characters, but it was really cool.
I mean, they built a whole land around the festival of Toutatis.
Exactly. And so that was actually an Intamin ride, and Intamin took number 1 last year with Velocicoaster. So it has number 2 this year, and it also has number 1, which of course is Conda.
Yeah, number 1.
Yeah. Conda is incredible, and I think that it's only a matter of time before we see something like that here in the United States. Yeah. It's just a solid hyper coaster, and while that one, it may not be a true hyper coaster because it's only 150 or 170, something like that. Once it goes over 200, once it does the same things that Conda does with the little tiny bunny hills, the non-inverting Cobra roll, that could potentially be the roller coaster that is the new best roller coaster. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But that is my number 1.
That was a great list. That's not controversial. That was
I don't think so. I feel like that order is what most people would agree on.
Yeah, I think so too. There you have it. That's our top 5 of 2023.
And we have a great year planned coming up.
We do. We've got another international trip. We've got a lot of theme park trips in true Brittany and Parker fashion.
Yeah.
So stick around with us. Follow along. We'd love to hear your top 5 too.
Absolutely. Top 5 of anything. Let's hear it.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know. We love to hear from you guys. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to Ride or Dine. And we'll see you guys next time.